All right, welcome back to Perth, Australia. Today we are going to focus in on building some of the first versions of uploading documents and sending those as an invite or an email to somebody. And we're going to do that through some no-code tools, including one that I really like called Bubble. So follow along, comment on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, your tool of choice. Really doesn't matter to me, and eventually I'll go in there and see if there's somebody saying something. So post in the comments maybe something that you are looking at or that you would want a system like this to do, and we'll see if we can build it using some of these tools and everything that are out there. There's a lot of latency. I don't know why, but hopefully it clears itself up. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's go forward from here. That's really interesting that there's 2 seconds of a delay. We'll see what happens, and hopefully the software program is bringing it back up. I'm not sure why that's happening, because there's not much happening on the network at all, and everything should be updated. So we'll figure it out. If it's bad, I will come back and see what it is doing and not doing. So let's come back and okay, so now it's coming back down for some reason. So okay, there we go. All right, so let's go forward from here, and let's go ahead and start sharing the screen so that we can see what we are doing and not doing. And I'll show you my process. Now, this doesn't mean that it's the correct process. This is just the process that I definitely use. So let's see what happens. So first thing that I like to do is just go ahead and document sort of where I am with things and the things that I want to build. So I'm going to show you where we left off last week or the last couple of videos, and you can see some of the things that we have. So if you remember, in the last video, we went ahead and had the virtual assistant start gathering some of the different PDFs and items that are out there, and you can see that they've went ahead and started doing that. They've been throwing them into some Google Drive for us so that we have those things there. But as you can see, there are definitely a lot. And to me, I mean, look at this one for Victoria. There's 30 minus 12. There are 18 different forms that you may have to do, which is a lot if you start thinking about it, and definitely overwhelming and not something you can just do and start thinking about. So the one that sort of surprised me was the 26-page one that the Queensland government here in Australia had. And to me, that was a lot, and definitely overwhelming. And if you got to think if somebody's definitely advancing in age, for them to come back to that every single time, that's a lot. So we're going to make it pretty simple. Let's see if somebody's playing around on Twitter. We got a notification from there. No idea who that is, probably spam, but we'll see what happens. So now let's go ahead and document, and I'll show you how I do that. So big Google Drive fan, so I'm just going to go ahead and create a new spreadsheet. And the way that a lot of these no-code tools do, they're actually set up in sort of a triad. And there's a really good example of that from HubSpot's marketing CEO, who posted it on Twitter, and his name is like Chief, I'll find it. But he goes through a lot of these tools, and he has a really cool diagram that you can see what's out there. And his name is Chief Marketing. There you go, Chief Marketing Tech, and he's with HubSpot, and he does a really cool thing. And he likes to make these graphics, and I'll show you one that I really appreciate and that I really like, that I probably just need to keep with me, that he could do, but he does it on this no-code tools and things like that you can do. So let me see if I can find that real quick for you. And you can see he posts a lot, so sometimes it takes a little bit, and if I can't find it real fast, we'll search for it another way. Yeah, that's taking a lot. So Chief Martech no code. and he's got a really cool one. So this is it. If you're thinking about no-code tools, it separates them into really 3 different types of products. So you've got content and UI, so that's making things beautiful as the user experiences them. You can think about automation, which is making things happen without a human having to do them. Zapier, one of my favorite ones, is there. An Australian company called Canva is another one that's definitely there. And these things make things beautiful. Typeform takes filling out forms, really beautiful, but that's sometimes where they stop. And the last one is dealing with data. So what can you do with this data? How do you store it? How can you manipulate it and use it in other items? So you can see that you can either make things beautiful, and there's some tools that do that amazingly well, but they may not deal with data, and then they may not do with automation. And the tools that I really like to deal with is Bubble, who's on the verge of dealing with content and UI and spreadsheets, data, and items like that. And then you can see what you can do. Amazon released one called Honeycode. I haven't dealt with that one before. HubSpot's where he is. That's marketing emails, making things look great so you can get people to come by. You've got some other ones that are out here. You can definitely think Airtable is a big, massive one that a lot of people are using right now. But I really like sort of the fun things you can do in Bubble, and they just keep on making the product a lot better every single day. So let's show you Bubble, and let's show you how I would do it. So Bubble is free to use as you're prototyping, so there's definitely no issues with that. You don't have to pay to learn or anything. They've got some great webinars. They've got some great boot camps and stuff like that you can do. There are people on YouTube that will make an Airbnb clone within 2 sessions, take about 3 or 4 hours together. But after you log in and everything and create your account, you can create an app to do some items. And let me just show you how it works so you can see what we're about to get into. And as this is loading, a couple things going on that I've got. We may be interrupted. I should get a COVID test while I'm here in my last couple days of the hotel quarantine here. Okay, so it's not in your latest version. We'll go ahead and do that. We can upgrade. That's fine. And they're always making updates and stuff like that. So let me just show you. So if you think about those 3 areas, and they've definitely done it for us. Design, making things look beautiful. So you've got a tab here that lets you build something. You have your typical web elements, text items, buttons, icons. You can embed HTML in it, which is actually pretty cool of what you can do. And then you can do things with the items that you're displaying, make them in a group, a repeating group. So let's say you have a list of names. You just set up one, and then it copies and does it time and time again for you. Inputs of one line, multi-line, checkbox drop downs, items like that. Here in the workflow, this is a way that you can create different workflows that says, hey, when this button or this thing is clicked, then do this. And then the data is where you have these different areas that you can set up. Think about them like spreadsheets and stuff like that. And you can create your own data, and you can say, hey, this field is a number, this is a date, this is text, this is a file, and items like that. So as you're thinking about it, we've got to debate how we're going to go about it. And let me show you that process. So let me show you how you could quickly create a actually I won't do that. I'll just show you my entire process. So if we come over here to Google Drive, the way that I like to think about it is I like to think about what actions or buckets of information are we going to try to deal with and work with. So as I'm thinking through this, I'm just going to create a spreadsheet and walk you through this process. I learned this process from a company called AirDev. They're one of the big consulting companies that does Bubble development. So you can work with them. You can take them for a test drive. They've got amazing templates you can buy. You can buy a clone of Airbnb if you wanted to. and cost you like $200 or $300 or something like that, which is pretty crazy if you start thinking about it. So let's see if it lets me come over here to my recent documents, so I can come into this particular folder. Come over here, let's go to this folder so everything's kept in the same place, and I'll show you how I do and think about this stuff. So let's create a new folder, or a new design document, which is just going to be a Google Sheet, which is totally fine. And we're going to do the so we're going to do our database and go forward from there. So one of the things that I'll end up doing is just thinking about the different items that we'll need. So I know one will need a living will or an advanced directive. So it'll definitely have a title. It'll have a file. And we'll go forward from there. The other thing so we'll have a will. So a will's typically after death, so it'll have a title. It'll have an upload date. So we'll have a will, it'll have a title, it'll have a file and an upload date. And let's do an is active. So let's give ourselves a couple more rows to deal with. And I always like to mock things out, because just like you saw, you think about something, you can go back and add it. It's easier to add it here than it is going forward. So now, we've got that. We've got an asset. So this is where it could be an asset's going to have a name. It's going to have maybe a location. It's going to have a description, maybe a unique identifier, purchase amount, fair market value, and a description and notes. And then we're going to have accounts. So this is a name, account number, description, approximate value. What I'm thinking about here for the accounts are like maybe bank accounts, life insurance, things that you may have. So we may have an account type, and we go forward from that. So this is definitely enough for us to do something. Another thing that we'll have is a let me add some more so we have some more room to do. We're going to have a user, so it's going to have a username, email, password is active, probably a user type, and a user type. So here we have our data name, and now we have a data type. Usually the data types that Bubble likes to deal with are things like numbers. Is it an address? Is it a username? But the cool thing with Bubble is you can say one data type is a data type of another one. And I'll show you what that means later on. So username is text, email is text, is active is a yes, no. User type is it's a user type data type, which we create later. Living will, so that's text. File is a file. Upload date is a date time. Is active is a yes, no. Comments is text. Will, text, file, date, time, yes, no, text. Asset is a text. Location. You would we're not going to put an address there because it could be location, could be a physical address such as a street address or something like that, but it could also be in the backyard or it could be in the driveway or something like that. So it's going to be text. Description notes is text. Unique identifier is going to be text. If it's like a VIN number, which is on your car, it's alphanumeric, and since it's not a strict number, it's going to have to be a text. Purchase amount is going to be I don't know if the date, let's see, bubble data type. The answer is I don't know. I bet it's going to be a number. Yes, no, date, file number. Number, user recipe number with and without decimals. Okay, so there we go. And so it's going to be a number. Oh, and I bet here's something. Since this may be a multi-country, we may need to have asset value currency, which is going to be it's going to be a drop down of currency. So it could be USD, British pound, Australian dollar, whatever else that turns out to be. So it's going to be a currency, which means we need to create a new data type, which will probably be a lookup, which is going to be currency. It's going to be a name. It's probably going to have a symbol. And then, yep. Cool. And a name is going to be text. Symbol, it's going to be text because the special character like the dollar sign or whatever is still considered text in the world. Accounts, text for account number because it can have hyphens or letters. Description, text, approximate value. That's going to be a number. Account type. We're going to make it text for right now. We may do something with that later. And then just like an account, if it has, it's going to have a, so account value currency, and it's going to be type currency. See, now we get to reuse that currency because now it affects different things. So username, ooh, we may need to, just for fun, as we're creating something for somebody, we want a date of birth, and this is going to have a date time as the data type. So, all right, now we get to build. So the other thing that I typically do is before I go in there and build something, I put little goals. The way that I do that is I think about what the user will want to do, and then we go forward from there. So we're going to scope it out and see what happens. And how are we doing? Not that bad of a latency, so it's still going. So, and we'll just go forward from here. So my big item right now is thinking about this advanced directive and stuff. So we're just going to copy that, come over here, paste that. And then we think about my previous life as a product manager. Let me think about different ways to build things and do things and not do things. And one of the ways you have to think about designing this is, hey, how can I actually do this, and what does the user expect to do? So we're just going to make it really easy of things. So like we have to say, as a user, I would like to see an area that I can add documents I have either made or scanned in, and document them and store them in the system. When I create a document, I can do the following. And this is where it comes into play for your spreadsheet for our for all these. And you can come over here, and all you have to do is paste. So I just do that so I can do the following. I can add a title. I can attach one file. I can set it to active or inactive. I can optionally add comments. And that's it. And so I had our items here so that we could quickly reference them, then I'd just delete them out. At any time when adding, I can cancel, and the system clears out what I have added. When I press save, I am then presented with a list of previously uploaded documents. The list includes title, link to the file, active status, active if yes, inactive if no, and a button to see comments. I also have a button or icon to delete, the button to make the document inactive. And that's it. So this is what we call a scoping document. So if you're a product manager or if you're building your own thing, it's really good to think through this. It's always easier to document something like this out. And then you go forward from there. If you're really interested in sort of mocking this stuff up before you do anything, and I haven't used this program in a while, so hopefully it works with some of the most recent Mac updates, is you can also draw this stuff out. It's still breakfast time. You don't have anything else to do in quarantine but eat, it seems like. And this was a rhubarb and apple yogurt, which is actually pretty tasty. Not what I expected. So what you can do is you can use a mock-up tool. And I do this sometimes just to make sure as I'm thinking about, hey, how does somebody do something? We can do that. So let's create a new project. We'll just see the entire flow of what we're doing. Before we do this, let's check on YouTube. I doubt anybody's doing anything, but you never know. Got some notifications. And we got somebody asking what the goal today is. Today's goals are to build in Bubble. Build in Bubble. So showing the process to document what you want to build, and then we build. Showing balsamic. Balsamic as a design tool, and then showing how to write out the requirements. Then build. Okay, so there we go. We've got that. Let's come back over here to Facebook, see what's going on. Nothing much, just some likes. There we go. And let's come over here and see if anybody's actually mentioning anything in YouTube, which I doubt they are. I've got it muted. Got somebody watching, which I'm pretty sure is not me, but there you go. Chat with Yo, hey Austin. So Austin's asking right now about AirDev's bootcamp. Yeah, I did it, but I had to leave it whenever I got the call about my mother being in the ICU, so I couldn't do anything. So I'll hopefully that answers. Yes, did AirDev's bootcamp. They did a great job and have some cool tools. So I think we're going to get an Inception here thing. And there we go. All right, so there we go. All right, so now let's go ahead and we'll leave this open. We'll have, of course, an inception thing going on here in a second, but we'll come back over here and make sure we don't have any comments, and we're good to go. All right, so now let's come back over here and show you in Balsamiq sort of what you may want to do. So I'm going to come over here, create a new project. And this is blank. So what Balsamiq really lets you do, and it's a pretty cool tool, I think they're on version 4, this is version 3, is you can come over here and you can say, hey, I'm going to make a website, and sort of my entries, I'm going to have a calendar. There's going to be a date picker here. There's a button that says this. I have all these web components that you can do something with. If you're like, I'm trying to think how to do it. I use it a lot just to make sure that what I'm thinking will do. So you may say, hey, as I'm building this, let's actually build what we were doing and see what happens. So let's come over here. So let's go back to our documentation and figure out exactly what we decided we were going to build, and you know what? Just go forward from there. So all right, I'd like to see an area that I can add documents. So we need a button or something like that, and I bet you anything we come over here and there's going to be a title, and let's just say documents. We know we're going to have a button, something that says that, and we may have a usually the way I think about it is I'll create one which is like the default, what you'll see here, and then we'll go for it. So we got a subtitle, so we're going to say documents living will, and we're going to have a will somewhere else later on. We'll do that. And so what else are our stuff? So I would like to see an area that I can add documents I've either made or scanned in and stored with the system. So that means that we need a button or something that says add document. You can always add like a little plus sign because people tend to like that. Add document. You can also have some additional text that comes here and says a living will helps those that will make decisions for you to know your wishes based upon quality of life. You can document this as a typed out comment, typed out item, or you may want to have a legal professional help you do this. So maybe we give a little descriptor, rah, whatever that looks like, and we go forward from there. And then move that down a little bit. So now we have that. Move the wheel down. Add document. So this could be screen 1 of what we have. Now, I like to think about, hey, whenever that person creates on add document, we can duplicate it. Now maybe that comes down and they're presented with those fields that we have. So we may come over here, and what do we have? We have a title, file, active, inactive, or comments. So we're going to have this, which is going to be title, and then we're going to have a file upload. I bet you anything there's a file upload. It's not there. Date chooser. Is there a file chooser? It's been a while since I've used it. Search box, text, subtitle, text area. We'll need that for the comments. Tool type. Let's see. Is there a file picker? Is there a file text outline? Let's see what that is. Nope, that's not what we wanted. Is there a picker? Time picker, no. Upload? Yeah. Actually, we want to do that. We'll give a button for this one. Select file, and let's make this a little bit longer. Make that down there. So we've got our title. Okay, we've got that. Select file. Is there a toggle? Toggle on off. This is our active, or yes, no. What else do we have? So we have title, file, active and add, active and, so I like to keep things in the same order. That usually helps things out. And now we need little labels here, and we need the, we need a save button. Save document. And then we probably want a cancel button. And again, this is just to say, hey, are we following along with everything that we want? And let's, do they have a label? So label goes to the left of everything. So we said this was title. And I'm copying and pasting these because it makes it easier. This is file. This is going to be active, and then comments. Yep. And so the workflow that we just created, we say, hey, we see this document stuff. We click on add a document. Whenever we click on add a document, it gives us a place to do this. And then the last thing that we did is we said that, now here's a cool thing with Balsamiq. Notice that comments is a little bit too close. So you can select multiple things and then just drag them to the right or the left. That gives you a little bit more space. So cool little form builder, what you can do. And then I'm going to show you how easy it is to do this in Bubble as we go on. All right, let me check some messages. Got some people messaging. Hopefully it's something exciting. I'm not sure what it is. Yep, all right, nothing exciting. Let me check one other place. So we've got, see what Mr. Austin's doing. Oh, nothing there. And keep a lot of tabs open. Nothing there. Oh, see if Austin's over here. Yep. All right, there we go. All right, so now let's go ahead and see if we can build this. So what we did, anytime when I can cancel the system, clears out what I've added, great. When I press the save, do we save? Yep, save. I'm then presented with a list of previously uploaded documents. So now let's document out what the list may look like. So let's go here and let's actually throw it up here. And now that we have our document, we may now have a table which is a data grid for what for the way that Balsamiq thinks of things in the world. Now once we do this once, the next time is going to be much easier, and we can go forward with that, but I'll show you what. So now the cool thing with Balsamiq is they also have their own little markup language. So this is making a little table which could be nearly identical for the documents and everything that we have. So let me show you sort of what that process would look like. So you just come in here, and if you remember, we get the way that does things is it creates new columns by putting commas there. So if you remember, what we were advocating to do was we were going to have a document name, we were going to have a file name or download link, and we were going to have a trash icon or something like that. Let's see what else. List of previously uploaded. The list includes title, link to it, active status, active status, and a button to see the comments. So once we do that, let's see what happens. Okay, so we've got that active, yes, no, and so now we can look at this other stuff and see what it does, and it's creating a value or a checkbox. And so let's living will for John, download link, download now, and then we get a value of an X, which should let us, I think that gives us the active status. There we go. I wonder if we can put a button in there. The answer is I don't know. But what we can do over here, comments, and then we can do view comments. That's pretty much all we need. We do that. Yep. That's it. Now we can also add a link to an icon or something like that. I don't remember how to do that, but I'm pretty sure there's a way that you can put a link in there. So now let's see if we can build this, which should be pretty fun, I think. Okay, so now we've shown the entire process, looking at the data. Let's come back over here to Bubble and let's create it. Let's see what we can do. Name of this app is going to be the Mitzi project. We can start with the template if we want to. The Canvas starter template is from AirDev, which you can do. And what kind of app are you building? Let's do other, your goal with the project. We're testing something out. These are optional, and create a new app. So through the magic of Bubble, what it's going to do is go out there. It's going to create this Mitzi project for us. Why isn't it letting me do this? Oh, when do you want to launch it? Let's do it this quarter. So create the new app, which is good and fine. It's doing its magic app, and then we get to have some fun with it. So since I'm starting out with a template, it means some of the hard stuff like creating the home page is automatically done. They'll have some users and stuff like in there, so we're going to go and see what happens whenever we create a new page and start from there. Menus and stuff like that can carry over each time, which is also pretty cool. But Bubble can be a little bit advanced if you want to. And one of the ways they help you out is that they start this with the assistant. I usually don't go through it because I've done it enough. Mitzi project, next step, that's great. English, that's great. They do allow you to have internationalization on Bubble, which is pretty cool built in. We don't care about that just yet. We can come in and do it. We can install some plugins. These are some cool things if you want to have happen. Like if you want to charge somebody doing something like that, you can do it through a Stripe plugin. You can have connections to Zapier, which is an automation tool, like a webhook or something like that. So like you can search for it in the plugin over here. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. It just depends on which one you're doing. And types, let's sort by name. Usually it comes up. That's funny. Usually it's there. What about Stripe? Yep. That's interesting. Webhook. Huh. I thought for sure that they had one. Well, anyway, like if we want to do something for, if we want to do something with Stripe, we can go ahead and install that. That's fine. And then there's another set of tools called a toolbox. Oh, it's not there either. Name sometimes changes. I just don't remember what it was, but that's all right. Hold on, let's do this. Tool, no, something box. I don't remember what it was. And Zapier's not there, but okay, that's all right. So let's go ahead and do that. Next step. Install the API connector. That's fine. It's already in there. Great. Go to last step. Yep, that's it. So now they do this. Now the first page that they bring in here is your index. And one of the things that you need to do if you are allowing other people to do it, I think in the collaboration it's admin at airdev.co. I think that's the name of it. It isn't a bubble user, so I think maybe it's just dev at air. And then let some things happen on the back end. So yeah, okay. So now let's come back over here. Here's our index. It gives us like an admin page and all these other things that should be coming up. And why are they not coming up? Let's give it a second. Yep. So there you go. We can come back over here to the index page. We can load that. And let's see what happens. So anyway, so what you have here is design, workflows, and data. The first thing we're going to do is come over here to data. They have a whole bunch of different things in there, which are fine. They can do it. But we're going to come over here and we're going to create our own new data type. And if we remember what we had over here on our data type, our first data type is going to be this sort of living will or advanced directive. So we're just going to call it, you can name it whatever, it really doesn't matter. You know, so we're just going to name it living will. You can create that. And if you remember, you can add now your own different data types. So there's a creator, the user that makes it, modify date, create date, and a slug, which lets something quickly be found in it. But we come back over here, and what did we say we wanted? Title, file, upload date, that's actually the create date, so we don't need to make it, is active, and comments. So come over here to the create a new field. This is going to be a title. It's going to be a text. Field is a list or multiple entries. Don't need to deal with that just yet. That's typically used whenever you have a list of other things. So it could be states I've lived in or something like that. And it could just be a drop-down list or something like that you have. But usually I don't use that too often unless I'm referencing something else. So we have text. We have comments. This is a long form text, but that's okay. What else did we have? We had a file. So we had a file. The field type is going to be a file. And then what else did we have? We had our active status. So our is active is going to be a yes and a no. Yep. So stage one, there we go. So now we have our data type. Now we have to think about what we're doing. So if we come over here to our design, we want to create a new page. So if we come over to the page and we click on that add new page, let's name it dashboard, because that's really what we're going to do. We're not going to clone it from anywhere, which is fine. But we're just going to play around and see how this process works. We can always make things prettier. I like to make sure that I understand what the workflow is as we're going. So if we come over here and if we're literally duplicating what we have for our first page, we need 1, 2, 3, we need at least 3 different text areas. So we're going to come over here, we're going to put our text, this is documents, Again, I'm just copying and pasting. This is living will. And if you see over here, as you're clicking on things, you have this editable area, which is pretty cool. All right, you can keep on copying and doing other things, and we'll show you some of the other things that you have there. So since we already typed this out once, all we have to do is come over here and type that. And just like any text box, you can make it bigger or smaller as you want. It'll definitely show there. The other thing about these, since these are text, you can also add styles. And the styles, there's another way that I'll help you out with that. But there could be header text, and notice what happens whenever we do a 24-point text or something. It makes it bigger and whatnot. So there we go. We've got that. You can always move this around if you need to and see what you're dealing with. We're going to make that slightly bigger. And there we go. And so now we want to come over here and we want to add our button. So I usually come over here and think about the button. And remember, we had in this one, it's going to be add document. And we had a little plus sign, which is totally fine. Now that one I've got to make slightly bigger because I messed up on that. And look, now we have a document button, which is pretty cool. Again, with this one, you can make it prettier, less pretty by using the built-in styles if you want, and then we go forward from there. You can also copy different things, not copy, you can select different things, move them around if you want, and we'll show you some of those things. All right, so now let's see if we can make it do something. So the way that Bubble works is anytime that you click on something, it's just like using Microsoft PowerPoint, that you say, hey, when somebody clicks on this, start this animation, or somebody press next, start this animation. When somebody clicks again, then do this other thing. But the cool thing is they can all interlock and do some other things. So what we may want to do is whenever we see a document, we had a form, but we didn't, do we want that as a pop-up, or do we just want it as something that pops up? I think we just want it that something comes in. So what I'm going to do is, just for our own sanity, I'm going to create what's called a group. And what a group is, it's just it's a grouping together of items that you may add, and then you can do things to the entire group all at once. And what we're going to put in here is our little form of uploading the document. So if you remember, so we built this one, so that's cool. Now we came over here and we're going to do our title file, active, and comments. So we come over here and we're going to do this is our title. And we're going to do that. Title, these are our labels. It's going to be our file. Copy and paste that. This is our active, and comments, right? And then we needed to have another button, so we're going to copy and paste this one. And one thing with groups you've got to pay attention to, if you just drag it around, you'll see that it's trying to drop into wherever this item is. So you've got to make sure that it's in the right area, otherwise you'll get a little bit upset and see what happens, which is not overly fun. All right, so we're going to come over here. We're going to make this our grouping a little bit longer so that we can do something with it. And the other thing you've got to pay attention to is the outer grouping has to be bigger than that. So what do we want? We wanted a save document and a cancel. So save document, and then we wanted a cancel. Okay, and then this is what you can do with the buttons. You can make it a secondary one. So right now it's set on the primary medium body 14 point probably. So you want to see secondary so that this one, you don't want people necessarily to click on that one. So you may make it a slight color, and that's a really ugly one. So we want it as a not hoverable, but primary, secondary 16 point, which should be, it's typically the inverse, and that still looks pretty bad. Solid secondary. Oh, that still looks really bad. Can I make this bigger to see? No. Solid medium body. So button, solid, primary, medium. Button, solid, secondary, medium. I really don't like that. So we'll just make it, oh no, wrong one. And then Control Z to undo stuff. Usually does button, solid, medium gray. There we go. Because we really don't want people clicking on that. We don't want to make it overly easy. Okay. See the style difference? That's square. This one's rounded, but we can deal with that one later. So let's go ahead and put in our input. And this is going to be a single line input. You're going to have your file upload, which is here. And our active is going to be a toggle. And we actually may want to use a checkbox. And then our comments, move these down a little bit, and per our design document they go over here. We may have another box. Let's check our comments, see if Austin or anybody else is saying anything. Yep. Oh, he wants me to move the picture-in-picture. I think I can do that. Can you move the picture-in-picture to the top right or to the bottom left? Probably. Let me see if I can do this. Format, radius, position. He said he wants it. Oh, hold on. Picture-in-picture. Nope, that doesn't do it. Oh, yep, I think I figured it out. I wonder if I can change the scale it. There we go. Let's put it toward my menu bar at the top right. Not that anybody probably wants to see my bug. So Austin was saying, hey, is there any way that you can add the upload date? You could do it. And let me see if this makes any difference. That should be a little bit better. You could do it, but what we did is we were showing that in the data area, and again, you can go between these and it doesn't affect anything. There's this created date, which is the same as the upload date, which would be, you could add an upload date if you're editing something. We'll work on the editing, last date edited or something like that. But yeah, same thing. So come back over to the design. And again, one thing that a lot of people will do is I would encourage people to all right, so here it's just saying input A. I like to do it. So document title, I like to come through here, document file uploader, load, checkbox active, and this is a input comments. So let's actually name it the same. So this is input document title, and then the outer group we want to name it. So this is going to be a group document add document. Cool. There we go. Okay, so now we've got this, and so if we were to load this up and preview it, what you'll see is that we get just a web page with somebody's dashboard or whatever else it is, and as it's loading, here's what we made. Now if we click on any of these, nothing happens. And the reason that is not doing anything, so we didn't tell it to. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how easy it is to like turn things on and off. So one thing you can do is if you put things in a group, you can come over here and you can say this element is visible on page load. If we toggle that off and then we come back over here, two things you should notice. We immediately get a notification that says, hey, this page has been updated. What do you want to see? And once we click on that, you click on that, it reloads the page, and we told it not to show that little button. So now on page load, it's not there, which is exactly what we want it to do. We don't want that little stuff to show up until we say add document. But now we've got to say, all right, how do we, whenever we click on the add document button, how do we make that form show up? Well, it's actually pretty easy. So you come up here to the add document, you click on start and edit workflow, and you say, hey, whenever that button is clicked, here's what I want you to do. We want to show an element, and that element we want to show is that group document. And again, this is how simple it is. This is where it starts getting fun once you have your base layer set up. We get an alert that's changed. You press that. Now, if the world cooperates, what happened? We click on Add Document. There it is. See, easy. Now, whenever we press Save Document or Cancel, nothing happens because we didn't tell it to. So let's see what happens whenever we click the Cancel button. Same concept. We want to come back over here to the design. Click on the cancel, click on the start and whatever, and we say, hey, when that button is canceled, we want to show or we want to hide an element, and that element is that group document. Go back over, press refresh, and what we should have working now is this add document, press cancel, bam, it goes away. Now, here's something interesting. What happens if we say this is the first document? Then we press cancel, then we do that again. Notice it retains that. So we can daisy chain items. So the first thing we want to do is probably right click this, insert an action before, and we want to it's not called empty, but we want to do something with the event actions. We want to reset inputs of that box, reset relevant inputs, which should be the things before, but I don't think that's actually it. But let's see. So we refresh it. Add document, test, cancel. Test is still there, so that's not the one we want. Let's delete that one. Insert an action, and it's not clear. I've done this before. Element actions, reset data in a group. That's what we want. We want to reset the data. The element is a group, and that's it. So if we come back over here, press cancel, add a document, test. Now when we press cancel, we just told it to reset this group, which is mean to clear everything out, and whenever we click on add document again, it should be blank. Perfect, exactly what we want. Let's check on Mr. Austin. Yep. So we got that for Mr. Austin. Okay, so now we have a quick little add documents. You can click here to upload. Notice when click here to upload file, it's automatically prompting us. We didn't have to do anything. That's how smart Bubble is and the cool things that it does. So if we do that, uploads the file, it's doing some things in the background, taking this PDF file and selecting it, I would think. Yep, there it is. And now whenever we click on Save Document, it's actually not doing anything because we haven't told it to do anything. So let's make it do something. So now whenever we come back over to our design and we want to click on Save Document, click on this workflow. The way the Bubble thinks about everything is it's considered a data thing. And so you have to think and that's the way it references, because it doesn't know if it's a text box, it doesn't know if it's a data type, a file type. It has no idea. So it just refers to everything as a thing. So we want to come down here to data things, and we want to create a new thing. So the type is what we just had, which is this living will. Remember, that's from our data stuff. We want to set a field. Come over here. We want to set a comment equal to the input comments that we had. That value. Add another one. File is going to be input, or the document file uploads value. And then we want to add the title is equal to input title document titles value. And then the is active is we want to set it to the our checkbox actives is checked, which that'll be a yes or a no. Okay, and once we do that, so I'll show you what it does. So if we do that, and they're knocking on people's doors right now, so I may have to do a COVID test here in a second if it's the health people. So let's let me just show you what happens. So back here in the data, you get all these different items, but you can come over here to the app data and all the different data types you have, including our living wills. If you come over here, there's nothing in there because we've not saved anything. We've not told the system to do anything. So now we come over here to the Mitzi project. We add a document. This is going to be test 1. Click here to upload the document. Advanced statement. There we go. It's doing its magical stuff. Uploading, we're going to do that. Comments, this is the first upload for the Mitzi project. And there it's at. It's probably a big file, that's why. If we click on Save Document, we don't get any confirmation because we've not told it to confirm or do anything. But if we come back over here and we scroll down, there's there used to be a refresh button right down here somewhere. Why isn't it there? Well, let's go to another one and then come back to it. Yep. Now our data is saved. How cool is that? And here's the file type, or the file. And so if we come over here and we can't do that. We can edit it and we can see the file that we uploaded. Oh, that's interesting. So it's letting us upload it, but I want the file URL. That's interesting. It's not what I expected to happen, but we'll figure it out in a second. How cool is that? We've got our first upload. Let's see if Mr. Austin has any questions. Any questions? Any questions, Austin? We just uploaded the first file and saved our first form. Okay, now there's no data validation, although you can do it. We're just not there yet, and we'll come back over and do it. So how cool is that? So if we've saved one, wouldn't it make, so let's go back to our documents about what our requirements are. Let's see how far we did. When I create a document, I can add a title, attach one file, set it to active or inactive. I can optionally add comments. Great. Anytime when adding, it clears what I have. We did that one. When I press save, I'm presented, so save, I'm presented with a list of previously uploaded documents. Okay, well now let's build that. So we come back over here, we go to our design, and the way that I would do it is that I would come over here, I would create another group, place the group here. Now notice that this, it's saying that our page is actually much longer. It's not as long as we wanted it. But this is going to be a group where we're going to put what we call a repeating group, which is going to be the items that we save. So, all right. let's see. All right, so now if we want to do something, I don't think there's a table element. There's a tab, but let me show you what we can do. So let's just, for fun, come in here and let's make a repeating group. Now, a repeating group is you set something up once, and then based upon your data set of what you have, it'll just repeat it. So in this type of content, what are we going to have? We're going to go back to that data type we created. It's going to be a living will. Our data source is going to be do a search for file types of living wills, and that's it. We'll add some more advanced things as we go on, but we're not there yet. How many rows do you want and how many columns? So now what you can do is here, if you come over here and you say you want your text, and again drag it to the correct place, and notice it's not going into that repeating group because it's a little bit too big. The height on it is way too big. So we're going to come back, change that. This is where it gets a little bit annoying. You've got to make it so that it fits in there and it's not just yet. So let's make this a little bit bigger, drag it off to the side so that we can, it should come in here, but it's not. There it is. So now it's in there. See how it now makes all those gray? That's what we want. So for instance, if we come over here and we're going to have to say it needs to be this dynamic data which pulls from the database. It's going to be the current cell's living wills title. And that's it. So now if we come over here and we upload it, test one, that's exactly what we did, right? So if we come back over here to our data and we look at test one, there's the title. That's exactly what we wanted. How cool is that? And if we add another one, and let's check on Mr. Austin, see how he's doing. He may have popped off, which is totally cool. Let's add another one. So again, test one, that's what it is. Now, funny thing, see this little scroll bar? That only appears if you have an external mouse. So I use one, and if I refresh after taking the USB out, watch what happens. We see test one, but we don't see that particular little scroll bar. But then this took me way too long to figure out why a scroll bar was there or not. And then if you go ahead and put your mouse back in and you make it to, so hold on, I think that's the health. No, that wasn't the health people. That was lunch being delivered. If you're curious what your lunch looks like while you're in hotel quarantine, we'll just show you today. It looks like today we get mashed potatoes and some type of beef with a roll, and some type of salad with some veggies and stuff like that. So I'll save that for after I deal and work with you all. So, and you get an apple and the Australian favorite, a Tim Tam. So that's what's today's lunch. I took a picture of all the lunches and everything that I've gotten so far. I'll share those some other time. So, all right, check on Mr. Austin. The scroll bar tip is great. Yeah, that little yeah, it took me like 5 weeks to figure out why that scroll bar was there. And another funny thing, Austin, is if you watch the YouTube screen. Is it this one? Yeah. So watch what happens. So ever so slightly, if you watch it. So that's with the actually, let's go to another screen so you can see it. No, this is fine. Watch what happens when I press it back in. The screen will shift like 3 pixels to the left. See? Right. See? Like, it just goes ever so slowly, and like, it's maddening, and it shouldn't do that, but it does. But whatever. Okay, so now let's come back over here and figure out what else is going on. So we have that. Let's go ahead and let's add another document so you can see in real time what is going. Another thing that I'm just going to show you what to do is while you're in this design phase, you can also do this thing. There's another option over here that says collapse this element's height when hidden. And so since it's not on there, and we can animate it whenever it does do it, if we come back over here, watch what happens. Now this white space that's here, it'll actually be closed. See? And then whenever you do add document, it should collapse out. There we go. We cancel. Bam, it comes back up. Now, Austin, you've done some web development stuff. Wouldn't that just take forever to do, like doing it in JavaScript and whatever? But it's like point, click, click, bam, there you go, which is actually pretty cool. So let's actually show you what happens now in real time. So if we want to put our test document 2 in there, test 2, let's get our document upload file. Let's see, something small that maybe I have way too many things. Kentucky Financial Power of Attorney, we click on that. It's active, comments. This is sample 2. Now, we may want to make it where as it's uploading this document, we can't actually press the save button, but I'll show you how to do that as we go forward. So once we press save, look, there's test 2 that automatically in there. We didn't have to refresh the page or anything. That's the cool part of this particular tool and everything that's going on. All right, so let's come back and see what happens. So we got test 2. So now let's see how we can download that document. Well, first thing, let's say that, hey, whenever somebody presses the save document, that create a new living will, and then we want to reset a group or the pop-up, and the group we want to reset is this document B, and then we want to hide the element of the group document. So now it's going to say, hey, you've done this. And whenever we upload, so this is the beautiful thing about Bubble and doing some of these no-code and visual development tools, is as you're working on stuff, you can be like, oh, I need to do that, and you can just do it, and you don't have to search for a whole bunch of things once you learn their system. So let's do test 3. So this is test 3. Click a file to upload. We'll do star.pdf, because maybe what we're uploading is a PDF in our downloads folder, which is totally cool. Why isn't it doing it? Come on, computer, you can do it. There we go. Let's pick another one, star.pdf. Maybe I have too many documents. Downloads. Maybe it's indexing it. Maybe that's why I'm getting some of these laggy stuff going on. I have no idea what bill that is, but let's just put it in there since it's a PDF. So yeah, we probably want to make it where this file is uploaded as active and then the saved document is allowed to do. So testing item number 3. It's active, save document, and see there it is. No problems, pretty cool if you do ask me, but no one did. So, yep. I agree with Austin. He's saying that it's pretty crazy how much you can get done so quickly. shows you how it's a minimally viable product. But the thing is, a lot of people are using Bubble to build real systems that are out there. And I've got another software product that I'm working on that takes advantage of Bubble for a whole bunch of other things. For those that are overly technical, the other cool thing that Bubble does is automatically creates an API that you can hit back and forth out of the box, and you don't really have to do much of anything. So, okay, so there we go. Let's actually make an edit button. Let me show you how crazy it will be to make this thing pop up and edit. So now let's put a button over here. Let's drag a button again into our repeating group. Now it won't actually pop into that repeating list item. Well, it actually doesn't show. Used to it did. That's weird that they don't do it anymore. But and so if it's there on the repeating group, see, it doesn't want to actually pop in there, which sort of is annoying. But it usually has to do with a height issue. As you're working with, see, there it is. So sometimes it gets a little bit finicky, but let's do edit document. Okay. And let's see what happens. So now we have to do a workflow on this one. And we have to say, and the great thing about using bubbles, sometimes you can reuse items. And then that's whenever you have to think about what you're doing. So if we do this, we can then, there's a way that with element actions, you can display data. And so we may want to, in this group document, I think this is how you do it, data display, you want to say current cells living will. Group document type is not, group documents content type is not set. Okay, so now it's warning us, which is totally fine. Let me show you exactly what it's trying to do. So here we have to now say, come back over here, and in content type, this is actually going to be a living will item. Okay, so now whenever we come back over here to this workflow, when the edit document is display data in document, current cells living document. Now watch how cool this is. I think if I did it right. Sometimes I don't do right because I haven't done this one in a while. So right now, if we do the add document, it's all blank. Press cancel, not blank, add document, great. But now if we come over here to test one and we click on edit document and we click on add, let's see, edit document. So it's not actually doing it. So let's figure out why. So display data in group, and then let's show an element, which is the recruit. Let's do this one. So let's try this. And if we don't get it on the first pass, I'm going to show you how I would ask for help, because it's been a while since I've done this. So we click on edit document. Okay, so now let's see. So I have a feeling that display group, let's actually do this. Okay, so I think since our input is different, let me show you a different way to do it. So since everything's in here, we're going to copy this. We're going to come down here and we're going to make an edit area. I just copied and pasted, Control C, Control V. I'm going to come down and move it here so I can show you what it is. So data source, okay, so now we're going to make this one document edit, just so we can see what the process flow is, and then we'll edit. So when display group and data, we want to change it from that to edit. Is there a way to so display to whatever, okay, show group document, but this is going to be document edit. I don't think this will work, but we're going to try it. Edit document should show below, but it's not actually binding the data. So let's figure out why it's not binding the data. So display group current cells living cell. So did we do that correctly? So if here it is appearance edit workflow, and that is definitely in the repeating group, perfect. Start and edit workflow, display data, data group, that's what we're doing. Current cells, so it should have passed that. Element. Okay, so let's figure it out. So let's, so one of the really good items that Bubble has is a whole bunch of help documents. They've got a forum, and they've got all these little pop-ups and everything that you can do. So display group, and let's figure out how they do it. I bet I just forgot one thing, and we just have to figure out what it is together. Check on Mr. Austin. And now it's going to load up a quick little video for us. Yep, so we did that. That's great. Display data, element, we did that. And now we need to let's see if that's what we need to do. So in this one, type of content, living will, data source, let's see how we do it. Let's go to the help document. So Bubble Aya, repeating group edit button. Someone's done this before. Click edit a thing within a repeating group. Edit data shown in repeating group. Sounds great. Yep. Rah. How to do it? When I'm providing the user ability rows, I typically send that data to a pop-up. Okay. So it's saying to do it with a pop-up. Just display your inputs for text elements. If those inputs were outbound, to have a button, edit this row, you would do is create inputs tied to the editable things that are initially hidden, not visible on page load. When edit is clicked, show those inputs. Okay. All right, so here's what they're actually saying is they're saying take this information, create a pop-up. So pop-up, a container. It's saying create the pop-up here, wherever it actually doesn't matter. Here's your pop-up. You can, or you should be able to. Can I paste in there? Yep, so I just pasted all those items. Okay, so I did that. And so now the pop-up content for the group. Okay, so I did that, but I need to go up a level. So here's another thing that happens is as you're navigating items in the elements tree, you may have to see where you are. So in this pop-up, there's our group. But for right now, I want to edit the pop-ups width just a little bit, and this automatically does that, just so I can see what I'm doing. Page title, mobile version, that's fine. Click on this. Type of content is a living will. Data source, is that? Okay, so let's see how they do it. So pop-up is what this guy did. Pop-up. With a pop-up, it provides much more real estate for editing and deeper contextual information. Since you're using it, given the number of records, one another option is a group within the repeating group. We're not doing that. Covered how to send data to a pop-up from a repeating group. It's been a while, and once you do these things once, you remember. But it's been a little while since I've done this. And this is the fun of building something in public. You just show your mistakes and what you do and what you don't do. You can see that I've been looking up off-roading and Battlestar Galactica and stuff like that. So let's see what this dude's doing.
Pop-up that you'll in turn edit within your application. So this has good practical use cases when you may be looking at a list of users and you want to update some information, or you want to edit and update an order, anything like that. So part of the reason why I'm recommending here the approach of showing information in a pop-up versus just putting a bunch of inputs within.
So let's see what he's saying.
Of keeping good information density. So it might be hard to cram a lot of inputs onto a repeating group that you can then update, but rather to send all this information to a pop-up.
We'll go ahead and eat a Tim Tam while we're watching this one.
I already have a couple of things pre-populated here. I have a repeating group, and I have a pop-up that will be sending that information to. So let's go ahead and get started here by just drawing a edit button here within the repeating group. So
okay, we did that.
So that when the user clicks on that edit button, let's go ahead and just move that over a little bit. And so when the user clicks this edit button, it'll show our pop-up. So the first thing that we need to do is go to that element action and show pop-up A. So let's.
Okay. So let's do that. Edit document. Delete these out. Pop up. Show. That's what it was. Well, no, did we have that? No, we didn't. Okay. No, let's just see how he did it. Actually, let's keep on watching because I think we had it. Almost. We just did a group instead.
When this happens, let's go ahead and just demonstrate what's going to happen here. So when we click this edit button, it's going to show our pop-up. But what we're still missing is that we need to send data to that pop-up. So
yep, I agree. Show data.
That we want to be displayed in there. So what we'll do is go again to element actions, display data, and choose our pop-up here. And we're just going to say display the current cell's user. Now let's go ahead and take a closer look at this pop-up that I have pre-built here. So I have a couple of different inputs here. So one for their name, one for credits, one for an address, and as well for their profile image. And for each of these, you'll notice that the initial content here is what's associated with the parent group's thing. And the parents group thing is a user, and we're sending that user to this pop-up. So specifically that user from the given cell. So that way when this loads, it's going to display their information in here. So let's go ahead and just refresh this one more time.
So that's what we were missing, is we have to say it's the parent items. So that's all we have to do. We have to come back over here to what we're doing, and data source is, why can't it do the, oh, that's interesting. Let's figure this out. Parent. Why can't it do a parent? Because it doesn't have a parent. Data source. Type of content. So how did he do that?
On the given cell. So that way when this loads, it's going to display their information in here. So let's go ahead and just refresh this one more time and see the difference now that we link things up. So notice, Michelle, that information populates here. This credits information is empty, I believe, because either a data formatting issue or I actually don't have that populated in the database. And then all of these other fields are showing up properly.
Okay, how do you do that?
That user to this pop-up. So specifically that user from the given cell. So that way when this loads, it's going to display their information in here. So let's go ahead and just refresh this one.
Okay, so
display data and choose our pop-up here. And we're just going to say display the current cell's user. Now let's go ahead and take a close.
Don't tell me that this has to be part of that, would it? No. Well, let's just do the pop-up because we think we can do that. So the first thing we want to do is show a pop-up. So show an element, which is that pop-up, and it's going to be our pop-up living will. And then we want to display data in a group, and it's going to be data to display, which is the current cell's living will. And then if we come back over here, this should be, if we come back over to our element tree, which should be our document, these should be set to initial content is dynamic data. Oh, that's why. Title, file. Let's actually not show that. This is auto binding, I guess. Field to modify is active. That's great. And comments are going to be Will's comment. Yep. All right, now let's see what happens. Okay, so we click on Edit Document. Should get a pop-up. Which, where's the pop-up? Okay. Oh, I bet I know. So this thing is probably this element is visible on page. So we have to do one more thing, which is to show that, which is to add before, insert action, show, hide an element, which is going to be our group. Which one is that? This is why I'm naming things is important. This is our document edit pop-up. Document edit pop-up. Okay, so we come back over here to the workflow, display element pop-up, because it wasn't showing before. We come back over here, we refresh, so we click on edit document for one. Okay, so we've got the pop-up, it's there, but it's not binding just yet. So let's see why not. So we're coming back over here, parent groups, living will title, so that should be there. Type of content, data source. We don't have to do anything like that. So let's figure out why she's not working. Show pop-up, living will, great. Show group, great. Display data, current cells, living will. Didn't we do that? Check on Mr. Austin. What's a Tim Tam? So a Tim Tam is just a chocolate covered cookie. How do they describe it on here? They actually don't. So it's like, think about like a wafer with a chocolate coating. It's like the Australian thing of everything that's done. So we got our button, but our button's working, but it's not necessarily populating just yet. Let's figure out why. So what did this guy do?
Closer look at this pop-up that I have pre-built here. So I have a couple of different inputs here. So one for their name, one for credits, one for an address, and as well for their profile image. And for each of these, you'll notice that the initial content here is what's associated with the parent group's thing. And the parent group thing is a user, and we're sending that user to this pop-up.
So do we have a parent group?
So let's go ahead and just.
Let's see if we have our parent group set up correctly. This is like the stuff if you don't do it on a regular basis. So we have here type of content, living will. Maybe that doesn't actually need anything. I wonder if, I bet that's what it is, that we were giving the information to this and not this. So let's come over here to display data. We don't want to pop up A. Oh, because we do this. Current sales, living will. No, we want it to be document edit pop up. See, now it turns blue. We know that's working. Ah! All right, there we go. See, small little things like that sort of mess it up. So now we can edit it. What happens if we do test 1.1? Our saved document shouldn't work because we didn't tell it to do anything. Cancel doesn't work because we didn't tell it to do anything. So let's come back and do those. So now if we come back over here to our saved document, edit document, we want to change or modify a thing, make changes to a thing. Thing to change is going to be parent group's living will, and we want to change the comment is going to be input. So now you notice we have a whole bunch of input comments, but we don't know which one's with. So before we do anything, we need to come over here and we need to change what these things are. Document title, edit, file, upload, edit, checkbox active, edit, comments, edit. And this is a save button, document, edit, and this is the cancel button, edit. Okay, so now we come back over here on our save, edit workflow, and comment is going to be input comments, edit, value. Then we want to change the title. Our title is input document titles value. Then we want to change the font that is active to the checkbox edit is checked value, which is going to be a yes or a no. And then we need to change the comment title file is equal to the edit document file uploads value. Yep. And the other save, and then the next thing that we need to do after that is we need to reset reset a group or pop-up. Actually, we don't have to do that one because it'll only pop up whenever. So then we need to show or show an element, or we need to actually hide it. And the element we want to hide is the document pop-up edit. So then it goes away. So let's see what happens. And this may be our last little edit, and we'll come back after I have some lunch and see what happens. So almost there. All right, so if we edit 1 and we do test 1.1, the file, not sure why the file's not there. Edit 1.1. I bet you anything it'll get rid of the file because there's nothing there. Save document. Ooh. Let's see if it did anything. So if we come back over here to our data and we view our app data to refresh the data. Item 3, edit 1.1. It did. So it changed it. But why is it? That's a little bit weird that now the make changes to a thing comment is edit values value. Why does it have the word edit in there? Oh, the other cool thing is that whenever you make changes like that, since it's a repeating row, it automatically puts that in there. So let's figure out why this is make changes to a thing, pop-up wheels, right, edit value. Okay, that's fine. Let's see what it's doing. Edit, test 2, this is 2.1, save document. Come back over here to the data. Test 2, so this should be 2.1, I believe. 2.1, this is sample 2. I don't know why I did edit right there. Oh, because I typed in the word edit. That's exactly why I did it. So it did exactly what it did. So notice, but whenever we saved it, it didn't necessarily put the document there. So maybe instead of doing an edit document where people can upload stuff, let's actually change that. But let's come back over to our workflow. Hide group. That hides that group, but we actually want to hide the pop-up, which is that one. So let's see what happens. So let it refresh. Check in on Mr. Austin there in Louisville. So let's edit 1.1. Let's make it 1.2. Edit again, 1.2. Save the document. And then the pop-up goes away, which is exactly what we want. We come back over here to the data. We refresh the data. And, yep, 1.2, test 1.2. That's great. It's doing exactly what we want to. Perfect. So now we have our first version of the document repository system. I wonder what happens if we come over here and we change this from is active to that. Sorry, you don't have permission to modify this. But I'm the editor. Why can't I do that? Oh, so now that's interesting. 3.1, save document. Ah, okay, so now why can't, that's interesting that it wouldn't let us change that. So it won't let us change the is active on there. Sorry, you don't have permission to modify this. But I can modify everything else. That's funny. Maybe because the user's not logged in. I bet you that's why I can't do it. Let's refresh it. But that's another live stream. So, all right, Mr. Austin and anybody else that's watching, going to go ahead and take a break, eat some lunch, and then come back, and then let's see how easy it is to do the edit and whatever else it is. So there you go. Have fun. Watch the Twitters, watch the Facebooks, and let's see what we can build.